Hey guys and gals, I am that 80s nostalgic toy guy. Welcome back to the collector's room. Today we're doing a little interview, a little sit down with Chris with Thrill Rides. Chris is going to do a little information, a little informative video here with us about this new park opening up in Arizona. Hey Chris, first tell us who you are, what you do, who you work like what you work for, and what got you started, and then let's go into the park.
Okay. Well, back in 2019, I was sitting with a friend of mine, and we were sitting actually at Indiana Beach Amusement Park with Monticello, Indiana. And we came up with an idea for a name of a YouTube channel, and it was called Midwest Coaster Fans. And then earlier this year, we decided to change the name over to Thrill Rides. So we've been covering this for 3 years now. We cover everything in the attraction industry, from dark rides to flat rides to coasters to announcements. I also have a series that I'm starting back up called History Roller Coasters. And also, we're starting back up a live podcast with special guests and stuff to talk about the industry. And I'm hoping to actually bring on Mattel Adventure Park that we're talking about today. Um, but basically, I started like a long time ago, like many of you guys probably did, riding like roller coasters and flat rides. And then going through some things, I think riding rides and going to parks keep your mind off a lot of things. So seen a lot of YouTubers do it. Decided to do it, and then I also run another channel on the side as well. But that's more of like a history and type of travel type deal. But I enjoy the industry. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's amazing. That I love the backstory there, so everybody gets to know. Also, Chris and I have known each other for a very long time. We started knowing each other back in high school, so it's really cool to see both of us kind of, go this route, like kind of grow up with YouTube here and then get to where we are now. Now, Chris, go ahead and let us know, what are we talking about today? What are we talking about, and where the heck is it at, so everybody knows.
Well, if any of you guys actually been to the Phoenix area, it's actually right across the street from Arizona Cardinal Stadium. I'm not sure the exact name of the stadium, but back in 2019, this announcement happened. Obviously, it's happened during the pandemic, so a lot of people were like, "Okay, why is somebody going to build this big resort with basically an indoor theme park during a pandemic?" So this announcement happened back in 2021, and it was actually supposed to be completed this year, but obviously some setbacks and delays due to the supply chain, probably due to some investments. So what happened is there was a slight delay. They had everything designed and kind of on the back burner. But the original designer of it, he originally was going to build like basically a big lagoon. I don't know if it was called Crystal Lagoon Island Resort. They might have been a different name. It's not going to be called that anymore, but basically it was going to be basically a lagoon with a bunch of like condos, apartments, retail, food, and then the backside of it was going to be a Mattel Adventure Park. Well, I totally forgot about it. So I heard about it just like any other parks, but like many other parks come to fruition. What happens is a lot of them go through the design process and then they lose investors along the way. So not only this park, but another park in Nashville was announced, Storybook. Uh, I think it's called Storybook Resort, which that's another one that's in the process. Obviously, this does not have anything to do with this one. But I was at IAPA, which I actually huge trade show. So you take anything dealing with the attraction industry, from the nuts and bolts that go into a coaster to the inflatable market to coaster manufacturers, flat ride manufacturers, to even arcade games, to virtual reality games. Anything you could think that you like go into an arcade or you go into a family fun center or a theme park or amusement park or anything is sold at this trade show. It's humongous. It takes up the whole entire Orange County Convention Center. So if you have not been down to Orlando, let's just put it this way: it's the second biggest convention center in North America, next to, I believe, McCormick Place in Chicago. It takes up the north and south concourse of that. So you can imagine the amount of vendors that are in there. So it's divided into different sections. You have basically those that manufacture the dark ride components, and you have another section where they sell uh, franchises in the food industry. Then you have the coaster manufacturers, the water park manufacturers with water slides and everything like that. And then basically it's this big thing. So I totally forgot that the Mattel Adventure Park was even happening, because I don't know if they went through some new PR changes or not, but nothing has been talked about this park at all. So I'm wandering around because there's a coaster reveal over at SeaWorld. San Diego's revealing a new train for one of their new coasters that's going out. But the crowd was so big. I had a buddy that said, I think Chance Rides is revealing this new Hot Wheels coaster. I thought this park wasn't even going to happen because I saw it last year at the same trade show, but it was just like animation. There was nothing like concrete in detail. So I went over by the Chance Rides booth, which if many of you guys probably don't know Chance Rides 100%, but they're a gigantic manufacturer of primarily a lot of flat rides you can find out there. So that's their primary industry. But they do have a couple like coaster models that are called GTX models, and they're not really known for anything else. Now they are really good at the design process and doing what places want them to do, but they are a very small company. So, like I said, outside of the flat rides and a couple coasters, they're not really known for anything else. Well, Mattel Adventure Park, and I'll get more details on this later. The lady who I'm speaking to over there, but basically they are going above and beyond. So I was able to send you some pictures of what was going on with the park. You had and it's called Bone Crusher Roller Coaster. Now it's going to be a launch family coaster. So there's two different coasters that are going into this. They're both Hot Wheel coasters. One of them is an extreme coaster, which is a GTX model, and this other one called Bone Crusher, which you have pictures of. And the train reveal was done at this trade show. Is going to be a family launch coaster. Now both coasters are going to start inside, obviously due to the really bad heat in Arizona in the summertime. It gets up to what 120, 130 degrees. So the coasters will go outside, but it's not going to be for a long period of time, obviously due to the wear and tear that's going to put on the trains. A lot of times what happens is and it happens down in Florida with Velocicoaster over at Universal Studios Orlando. Basically what happens is in the heat, the wheels, so there's usually three different types of wheels that hold the trains on the track. Well, extreme heat could actually cause those wheels to burn up fast. So what's happening over with Velocicoaster is kind of what's happening in a lot of the other places that have extreme heat, and the wheels burn up faster than what they would in like normal climate. So I think in order to cut down on the wear and tear of the coasters, they're going to have it start inside, and then it's going to go outside. But that was revealed over there, and then also along with the Hot Wheels, which you saw how detailed Chance Rides put into it.
Oh yeah.
Also with the Hot Wheels coaster, you're also going to have a Thomas the Train area, and I also showed photos and video of that. That has more detail. There's also another Thomas the Train type of family ride over at Kennywood Amusement Park, which is located in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania, which is just southeast of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that park's been there since forever. It's one of the oldest parks in the country. But this is like part of a multi-complex type entertainment complex that I don't know if you've been out there before, but next to the stadium, the last time I was over there was 2011, and there was nothing next to that stadium. Now there's a lot of entertainment, a lot of things to do. I think there's a top vault. That's what the lady was telling me. But this complex is going to be pretty enormous, and it's going to cover all the brands of that. So it's going to cover not only Hot Wheels, but she was saying they got a deal worked out with Thomas the Train, which is a PBS trademark, I believe.
Their Fisher Price brand, Mattel's Fisher Price brand, puts out the Thomas the Train stuff too.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty cool because I was going to ask you that question there about Fisher Price. They're going to do something like maybe the kiddie area, like Fisher Price, and here you are talking about that. So that's cool.
I believe there's going to be some kids players and like flat rides designed around Barbie and stuff like that. So it's going to encompass the Mattel brand. When I first heard about this, I was like, I don't know how they're going to pull this off. And then you're wearing the shirt right there.
Yeah.
And then
it seems like this park is like decades overdue. I mean, man, Mattel has been in the game for 6, 7 decades now, and there's a lot of brands that they have and a lot of things they could do with a adventure park like this or a theme park. So this is really cool, and I'm just glad you're sitting down here with me, Chris, to talk about this. Really cool. The Barbie thing. So you hit on the Fisher Price with the Thomas the train there, and we got the Barbie. So there was talks about Barbie stuff, like a Barbie area or like a specific Barbie, like maybe shopping or something like that. They talk about that or
I believe they're going to have a shop, but I she was talking to me a little bit about it. I didn't get a lot of detail on it. I just know it's going to be like a complete like design process. I imagine maybe something to do with uh, kids designing their own Barbie dolls, stuff like that. I I'm not sure on the whole details on that because I don't know. It's hard to find any releases on it. I'm glad that she was able to give the contact information so we can get more details,
yeah.
especially for your viewers later on when we get more details on the actual the whole design of it. I don't know if you're familiar with another company. They make shooting galleries. Have you ever heard of Daniel Woodland? It's
Oh
a
yeah, actually I have. Yeah, really, it's been around for a while. So what are they going to be doing?
well, the shirt that you're wearing right there.
Yeah.
So they're yeah, so they're working on He-Man versus Skeletor, which is going to be a laser tag
Oh man.
game over at Mattel Adventure Park. And I did get a chance to speak with Danny Woodland. They're really nice. They've been, like you said, they've been around for a while. They're known for their shooting galleries. Over the last couple of years, they've been working hand in hand with other dark ride manufacturers such as Sally Dark Rides. Everybody knows Sally Dark Rides, but Sally Dark Rides has actually been collaborating with Danny Woodland to bring some different types of design pieces into the process. And with the He-Man versus Skeletor laser tag, they basically built the entrance to it, which you can see in the pictures, and they took basically, which you find this really interesting. They basically took two little figurines of He-Man and Skeletor, and that was their design process. And basically, what they do is they take from there and they develop it into kind of like a sculpture type thing with multiple pieces. And they use a 3D printer for this, so it's built into multiple like pieces, and then they're able to. You probably know the whole design process of that, like how they molded and everything else into the.
Those are those pictures you showed me, you standing in front of like He-Man and Skeletor, and then that opening there of Snake of Castle Grayskull. That's what you're talking about there, that 3D printed thing that they did.
Yeah, they did that all, and they weren't able to release what else they were doing there. Obviously, and I try to get it out of them, but they're like they didn't know if they were going to violate some contract agreement with Mattel Adventure Park. But he was able to go over the full details of it. He did say there's more just than the set pieces that they presented at the show. And then he said once they're put into place over at Mattel Adventure Park, they're going to be doing the finishing touches on it. Obviously, for the trade show, they had to put it into pieces because they have to take it apart, put it on trucks, and then take it back. I'm not sure where they're headquartered at, but the team there is amazing. Like they're probably the nicest design team I've met at IAPA. And like I said last year, they were working hand in hand on a dark ride that's going into a small little seaside type amusement park. It's really cool. I was joking around with him and I said Disney needs to contract you guys out because your designs that you're coming up with are just they're better than some of the designs that Disney's came out with in the last few years.
You know me, I'm a Disney dad. We're a Disney family, so to hear that if it's above and beyond Disney, man, I'm looking forward to taking actually our first family trip out there because of this park out there to Arizona. So that's Masters of the Universe. We've hit on Masters of the Universe. We've hit on Barbie. We've hit on Fisher Price and Thomas the Train, Hot Wheels. Was there any other releases of any of the other brands that they have? Like they have the Mega brand and the was it Monsters High and a couple other ones. Did they hit on anything like that or have any designs based off those yet?
Not yet. I believe she's going to release more details further along. I'm not even. To be 100% sure, they're aiming for summer of 2023 for the opening. But like I said, they were supposed to open it in this year, and it got delayed. And then they were hoping to get it open by the Super Bowl in 2023, but they don't think they're going to meet that projection. So they're hoping to have it open by summer of 2023. I would think they would bring more than just the classic brands into this park, obviously, due to the fact you want to bring the nostalgia from the older generation and then the newer generation.
Yeah, and you want to
So,
get the new people, like, because my little girl, I've got kids from ages in the 20s all the way down to 8, and it spreads the whole thing, including myself now in my 40s and all that stuff. So, yeah, we want some of that newer stuff. So that's pretty cool, especially since Mattel has this new Mattel Creations that they've had over the last year or so. That's just making all this crazy stuff, and people are loving Hot Wheels. Now Hot Wheels has gotten back up there with collectors, and I love to hear about that roller coaster. Is there any other like information that I haven't asked you about that for this first interview here that you think the viewers should know now, or should we just kind of wait and I've got to hold tight for some more information?
uh, I mean, some more details on it would be that, as far as we know, like I said, the more extreme coaster of this is going to be called Hot Wheels Twin Wheel Racer, and it's going to be a Hyper GTX model. And so far, if all the illustrations are correct, it'll have three inversions in it, which is going to have two loops and then a corkscrew in it. And we believe that's going to be the launch coaster along with the Hot Wheels Bone Shaker family coaster. I imagine I don't know, they're kind of hiding a lot, which I like because when you release everything up front, like we've seen over the last couple of years with some national brand, well, I'm not going to name the name of the park, but everybody knows it. When you announce something up front, uh, if you say, I'm going to build A, B, and C, and then let's say something happens in the design process or an investor pulls out of it and you lose some money, then you're disappointing your guests. So I think right now they're like, we're just going to talk about the ones that we can guarantee that we know about now, which was, the He-Man versus Skeletor laser tag, the two Hot Wheels, and the Thomas the Train. And then we could talk about little details, but we want to give too much away because I feel like if they give too much away, they're going to disappoint the audience.
I love that too. I'm with you.
We saw that happen with like let's Splash Mountain redo
Oh yeah.
over to the what is it Princess and the Frog type
Yeah.
of, and we
Yeah.
saw like this. Yeah, you saw this huge, great detailed redo of the ride that was going to be amazing, and then this year at D23, it was like, this is what we're going to give you now. Everybody was disappointed. If they would have just waited until the final product was almost done and then presented, I think a lot more people wouldn't have been disappointed. So I think Mattel is really doing the right thing in this park. And I think what happened is it was going to be done this year, right before the Super Bowl, and then obviously, like I said, the original designer of the whole complex, something happened, and they had to pull out, and then another investor came back in. So then everything's kind of like speeding up because the lady that I spoke to actually came from Coca-Cola, and now she's doing basically the media and PR for Mattel Adventure Park, which I find kind of interesting. Obviously, Coca-Cola is the most recognizable brand next to McDonald's in the world. So for somebody like that to come in so they could bring in more brand recognition for this park, I think that was definitely a great move on that.
That's awesome. Anything else that right now it's set to be hopefully this summer. That'd be a pretty cool little family trip we could take out there for the opening of that. You guys are going to be covering that. You're going to be going out there when it first opens. You're going to try to, or you're going to try to get out there before it opens.
Yes, actually, I told my youngest daughter about it, and she's all about Barbie and everything else. So I think it's going to be a great addition for families to be able to do out there. Obviously, there's a lot to do in Phoenix, but one sector that Arizona has not hit on is, oh, you have all these people visiting Arizona doing all these things, and nobody's ever built like a successful theme park or amusement park out there. So I think this is like I think this area that they're hitting on is definitely an area that was missing because obviously nothing's really in Vegas. That's probably the closest city to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Nothing's really there besides adult things to do, and then you got a kind of an indoor park, and then you have that small coaster. But other than that, they don't have anything in Vegas for families. Vegas kind of moved away from that family aspect. They're kind of
Yeah.
just appealing to that. So I think by Phoenix possibly moving towards appealing to more families with this and the addition of other things, I think it's definitely the step in the right direction. And hopefully they add on to this park as it becomes more popular uh, for them to. I believe there might be a third coaster, but it's probably going to be like a smaller little, um, maybe like an SBF spinner model, which those are like in the kind of family entertainment centers you can find inside malls and stuff. It's like a really small little spinning coaster. I can see them possibly maybe adding one of those with a small theme, maybe. But definitely, it's good that they're going with Chance because Chance is a small manufacturer, and I don't know if you've been out in the Kentucky Kingdom, but
Yeah.
Chance was the one who designed a lightning run over there, and that's one of their Hyper GTX models. So if they could do that with that,
Great.
imagine what they're going to do with this one that's going to be going in over the Hot Wheels for Hot Wheels over at Mattel Adventure Park.
That'd be awesome. That's gonna be awesome. So we know we're gonna have some shopping there. Definitely. Mattel has a ton of stuff, so that's gonna be another thing to hit on is shopping, all that. Gonna be food and all that. Now the thing is, will people have a like a? I know that I was reading on it before it was going to be this big park, a place for families and everybody to stay. Is that what it first started out with? It's going to be like a resort, like hotel type thing, and then so there's going to be a lot of places for people to stay. So when they come down there, they're going to have a place to stay while they go enjoy all that Mattel has to offer there.
Yeah, I believe it's not going to be. They might change it. I don't believe it's themed towards Mattel because it's kind of separate from it. It's in the same complex. I think it's a missed opportunity, like you said. It could possibly kind of like what Legoland did with their theme hotels. But as far as I know, they're still going to have the hotel aspect of it. They're not calling it a lagoon anymore. I don't know what they're calling it. They've changed a couple things around it. And if you look at the live, they have a live construction cam on it. There's still a lot of progress being, but most of all the rides and everything for the Mattel Adventure Park is going to be inside this big complex, and then there will be some outside things to do. But like I said in the beginning of the video, because of the heat, I think they're trying to keep people inside just due to the fact, obviously, which I don't know. I mean, it works in Florida, but I guess Florida is one of those weird places where people go even if they're
Yeah,
dying of heat exhaustion. So
exactly. Yeah, getting out in Arizona, that of course it's a more drier heat out there, so you would think it wouldn't affect you as much, but then again, 120, 125 degrees, that's going to affect everyone. And if you have it indoors, you're going to keep people there longer. You're going to make more money because people are going to be spending that money on other things other than the ride. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It's going to be a big complex.
yeah, and I think kind of like you have a what is it called? Mall. I'm trying to think of the name of the mall over in New Jersey. What is it called? Anyway, sorry. But they have a DreamWorks water park. So that's another thing that'd be kind of cool if eventually they decide to add on to the Mattel Adventure Park and build kind of like a themed water park. Because
Yes.
obviously it's Arizona, so people are always going to go to the water parks out there if they do eventually.
I definitely want to get when if I go there, I definitely want to go to a water park for sure.
Now I want to make it clear, like this park, from what they told me, is going to be geared towards families. So if anybody's expecting it to be like a thrill park or anything like that, that's not what they're geared towards. They're geared towards more of a family park. Now, like I said, with the GTX model, kind of like what they have with Lightning Run, you're going to have kind of an extreme coaster. It's going to be a launch coaster, three inversions, and then I think most of the other parts of the park are probably going to be obviously geared towards families, and obviously you're going to try to aim towards getting those people back to come back for a second and third visit and tell their friends about it. So not unfortunately not at this time, but as I hear more information, as I make contact with the PR person over there and she gives me more details, we're hoping to get some things organized with a tour out there in February, right before the Super Bowl, to see kind of the progress if they're allowing us to.
That'd be
Uh,
great.
but but she said she would release plenty of details and drawings and stuff like that. So as soon as I get more information from her on those type of things, I could contact you back so we could talk more about that, and you could actually be able to show more of what the design's going to look like
Okay.
for this park.
I would love to have you back. I want to have you back not only for this now, Disney, the parks and everything down there, and Universal Studios and all these other ones. These things go hand in hand with the collector's world, because we go here and we ride these rides and everything that look like the things that we collect, the movies we watch, the TV shows we watch, the cartoons that we idolize and everything. So I definitely want to get some updates on anything, Universal Studios, Disney, anything else you think that might fit onto the channel. I really love to have you back for that. Chris, is there anything you want to plug? Any of your socials you want to plug right now before we let you go? Anything you want to say to the viewers before I let you go?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So, the Thrill Rides is looking to grow into 2023. I want to also give a special thanks out to that 80s nostalgic toy guy for having me on this. But we cover a variety of different things on there, so you can follow us on our handles. Thrill Rides. We're on YouTube. Facebook, we don't really hit up as much, but Instagram, we're more hitting up that with some reels and stuff. TikTok's kind of a weird algorithm, so we're trying to figure out that one. And we're on Twitter, and we're looking to start our podcast here soon that we'll be talking about more stuff like this. So if you're interested in like theme parks and stuff like that, we're more of an honest type of channel. We're going to give you more honest reviews on that, but you can follow us on our handles, and we would be more than happy to talk to you about anything that you have questions about, any questions you have about anything going on in the industry. Like Joe was saying on there, we have a new theme park going on in Orlando called Epic Universe. It's going to have, right now, Universal's keeping a hush hush besides Super Nintendo World, so we don't really know what's going on with it. There's a lot of rumors circulating around it, so that's another thing that's kind of hitting the market. It's kind of what I really like about this is that we've had a really dry period, like you said. We've had a really dry period of like no new parks. So when we have, with Mattel Adventure Park, with Epic Universe going in Universal Orlando, we're finally getting, and there's another one in Iowa that just opened, and that one's called Lost Island Theme Park. And it's a really small park. It opened this year. Unfortunately, I think they opened at the wrong time. I'm not sure what happened, but the visitors haven't been flocking to that park. But they have a ride over there that's a dark ride, and it went through a massive design process. And it's a Sally Rides ride, but it's a really good theme park, and they have a really good water park. And we're going to be covering that this next year because there was two rides. There was two rides that did not happen at this park due to the fact one caught on fire, which was their log flume ride that's supposed to open this year, and another they were waiting on parts. So if you see any delays going on in the industry right now, a lot of times it's not to do with the parks, but they're waiting on parts from all around the world. So a lot of the parts that they might be waiting on might be coming over from Europe or uh, different countries over in Asia and stuff like that. So right now, building anything, you have to be as a visitor of parks and somebody who covers the industry, you just have to be patient. To add to this, I actually talked to one of the females that's a part of Daniel Woodland, and she said she put in an order for a tiny little spring, and she said it was on back order for like 6 months. So as soon as it became available, she turned around and she ordered as many as she could of it. And then they had obviously so many people order at the same time that they couldn't fulfill the order, so they had to cancel her order. So it's been a really ridiculous process going on. So I really feel like the whole industry is not going to recover until 2023 or 2024 in terms of getting the supply chain issues intact. That's why I think Mattel Adventure Park probably will open in the summer. But if there is a slight delay, it's probably going to be due more to the fact of getting different parts and things like that from the supply chain than anything else. So.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining me here in the collector's room here, albeit virtually, but that's cool. That's great. There's not that much room in here. It's full of stuff. There's barely enough room for me to get in here sometimes, but I appreciate you, Chris.
Oh, no problem. And have me on anytime. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about anything.
Well, that's awesome because I would love to have you on. I think the viewers would like to have you on for Disney updates, that new Universal Studios park update, and just updates on a lot of different different theme parks that have anything to do with anything we may collect, watch, or love. So that's pretty cool, Chris. Well, I appreciate everything you said, bud. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the next interview on this Mattel Adventure Park. I really am.
Absolutely.
Now that was fun, wasn't it? Now go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the fun on the channel. We'll see you again real soon.